So we now finally have a title for the third one of these, which is Insurgent. How off were your guesses? Mine was Convergent, so I was super off. This video will contain spoilers for Divergent. Obviously. I have way less to say about this one than Convergent, and thank God, because that video was a bitch. Similarly to Divergent, I ultimately really liked this one while still feeling that it had some flaws. First up, let's do a plot summary. This one is way easier to summarize than the first one because I don't have to explain all the world building again. So we pick up right where the previous book left off, and the city is in an all-out war now. Abnegation is mostly all dead. Half of Dauntless is hiding out with Candor, while the other half have defected to Erudite, and Amity is trying to remain neutral. And Triss is caught in the middle of all this, trying to embrace her divergence, even though she's still not quite sure what it means and trying to use it to end the conflict. Alright, pros. Oh my god, the world building makes so much more sense now. I totally understand why so many of you were laughing at me in the comments section of my Divergent review. I get it now. I still think the world building is a little shaky, but so many of the issues that I had with it in Divergent were addressed in this book, so I'm much happier about the world building now. There's still a lot of questions that remain unanswered, and hopefully those will get wrapped up in Insurgent, but who knows? I'm trying to withhold full judgment until the third one has come out and I've read it. I feel like my opinion on the world building is really gonna be based on how well things get explained and wrapped up in that third book. This one doesn't really work as well with the whole thing is a metaphor for high school conformity theory. Maybe that's why a lot of people didn't like this one as much. I get the sense that a lot of people weren't as crazy about Triss in this one, but I actually really like where the character went. I think a lot of it might be based on like expectations and what we really respond to in our fiction. Because, like, okay, at the end of Divergent, Triss has just watched both of her parents die. She's had to shoot one of her friends in the head. She's on the run to Amity with a tiny group of survivors, and she doesn't even know if Amity is gonna accept them or if they're just gonna be on their own. Her entire world has just fallen apart. So when I was finished with that book, I was like, oh girl, you are gonna be a mess in Insurgent. And she is, and I would have been disappointed if she wasn't. It would have felt like a betrayal of everything that she had gone through. Like, people don't just bounce back from that shit. It's not like, oh, I shot my friend in the head, well, time to soldier on. But a lot of that is me. Like, I really like consequences in my fiction. When bad things happen, I want those bad things to have an effect, or else just don't do them. That is just me, though. I would be very interested to talk to people about this in the comments. The only problem that I had that I really want to talk about is, God, 4 was such a dick in this book. Like, I was never particularly invested in Triss and 4's relationship in Divergent. If I had to describe that romantic subplot in one word, it would be unobtrusive. Like, it was perfectly fine, but it was one of the least interesting things in the entire book. But in this book, it was very distracting because 4 was being such a douchebag. I mean, it wasn't like an Edward Cullen level of troubling behavior. I don't know that any character can reach an Edward Cullen level of troubling behavior, but it was not great. But like I said, I was not particularly invested in this relationship to begin with, so didn't kill the book for me. It's unfortunate. I feel kind of bad for people who were really invested in that relationship. But yeah, overall, I liked Insurgent, and I'm looking forward to reading Insurgent when it comes out in September, I think. Alright, that is it for me, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye.